I think initially the objection came from conservative members of the Episcopal Church itself, who didn't like prayer book revision, didn't much like the ordination of women, and certainly didn't like the ordination of gay, lesbian, bisexual and transgender people. So, and I think they have been very rich and powerful, which means they've been able to harness the opposition of other parts of the communion, most obviously Nigeria and one or two others. And certainly there are similar conservative sorts of groups in England who have provided the information and funding likewise to wage this campaign.
I was a member of the Lambeth Commission, and that was my first real, I guess, experience or exposure to the extent and the intensity of objection that was being raised across the communion. I don't actually believe that the extent of objection is as large or as significant as is being portrayed. I think that what we have is an extremely well-organised counter group who are determined to prevent gay, lesbian people from full inclusion, but I actually don't believe that's the real agenda here. I think that lesbian, gay, transgender people are the scapegoats for a bigger issue that's to do with a grab for power, an unseemly grab for power and authority in the communion, and I think it's being done on the backs of this minority, this small minority, this significant minority group within our church. That's what I actually think is going on.
And I think a lot of the problems that we're having now is actually something to do with the hubris of the British Empire, is that the British Empire and the sin in empire and the sin in colonialism is now being brought to a head all these years later when we're struggling with issues which divide us.
I'm eager to put BO33 behind us. I think the future of our convention work is for full inclusion of gays and lesbians in all orders of ministry, and to find a way to honor and acknowledge the blessing of same-sex unions.
It is a resolution that was passed by a General Convention in 2006, which said that it doesn't compel, it urges bishops and standing committees, the two groups that have to confirm the election of a bishop. It urges them not to consent to the confirmation of a bishop whose manner of life might cause problems in the broader communion.
It was a concession which was felt necessary to win the tech of voice in the primates' meetings and the instruments of union of the Anglican Communion. It was seen as a price of getting an invitation to the Lambeth Conference. Now, I think that that resolution is a compromise. It represents a compromise of gospel principle, that it's wrong to sacrifice the well-being and respect for real and present persons, the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered persons, on the altar of institutional expediency. An invitation to Lambeth is not worth insulting, degrading our gay and lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered members. To say that they aren't first-class citizens, that their unions are not blessable, that is to say that their manner of life can't be holy before God, and that's a gospel falsehood. To say that non-celibate gay or lesbian persons cannot be fit candidates for the episcopate is to say the same thing. And so I think that that was a serious compromise of the gospel to which we have committed ourselves in the canon, which specifies that we will not discriminate on access to ordination on the basis of sexual orientation.
It's unfortunately stepping back from the provision that General Convention passed, that there shall be no barrier to ordination in terms of race, class, sexual affiliation or identity, gender, and that's the canonical rule. And BO33 said, well, for the sake of our relationship with others in the wider communion, we're going to step back a bit from this. And it's frankly offensive because it negates the ordination of people who are otherwise duly called, duly authorized, and duly ordained by the canons of the Church.
The issue of homosexual inclusion in the Church is really about the beginning of the end of patriarchy. 40 years ago, we saw people of color beginning to be welcomed to the table, women being welcomed to the table, and now gay and lesbian people. And what that means is that what has heretofore been true, namely that straight, white, Western, educated men making virtually all the decisions for the world, is beginning to fall apart. And as we bring women and people of color and gay and lesbian people to that table, the kind of patriarchy that we've known for thousands of years is beginning to crumble. And it's no surprise to me that, that there would be resistance to that. Power never gives itself up willingly, and those who benefit from patriarchy are wanting to hold on to it. As a white male, I benefit from that system. It is set up to benefit me as a white person and as a male. But through the blessing of being born gay, I've had a tiny little window into what it must be like to be a person of color, to be a woman, to be a person in a wheelchair, or whomever else has been marginalized.